Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe a good-looking show is looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance because you consciously tuned into Eye on Las Vegas with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. Notice I didn't say the ambassador of joy, the ambassador of joy. And you know that on this show, we introduce you to the most remarkable people on the planet, because that's what Las Vegas is all about. When I travel the world, thank God, to be able to speak to people all over the world. Whenever I mention these two words, Las Vegas, people's eyes go, whoop. It's a magical place. It is magical because there's a place of energy and enjoyment and possibilities. You're going to meet one of the most possible beings on the planet in just a moment. I want to share with you one little insight on Las Vegas. If you take the entire population of New York City and everything around it, take the entire population of Chicago, Illinois, and everything around it, the entire population of Los Angeles, California, everything around it, it won't add up to all the people that come through Las Vegas in a year. 41 million people come to and through this magical, upbeat, wonderful place. And you're about to meet one of the more interesting ones who you'll ever have a chance to get involved with. So get ready, buckle up. I am just so tickled to be able to share with you one of the most interesting, kindest, giving people on the planet. Please welcome wonderful Yukai Chou. Yukai, please say hello to 503,917 people around the world.
Hello, I'm Yukai Chou, and I'm the guest of Joy.
Thank you. I told you you're going to be reveling. So I'm going to tell you, if I started telling you all the things about Yukai, it would take the rest of the show. I'm going to give you 3 wonderful data points. Number 1, he is the acknowledged expert and authority on gamification. Matter of fact, if anybody could have the attribution of giving the name to something called this, it's him. Yukai Chou is the essence of gamification. Number 2, he is the original creator of what we call actionable gamification, Beyond Points, Badges, and Leaderboards. That was a book that sold over 100,000 copies, and they weren't $5 a piece. It's a wonderful, amazing, really perspective-shifting book. And the other part is that what I call the most important part of his life, he is a remarkably dedicated and giving husband and father of 3 children. And he lives because the Lord has granted him the ability to be a giver in life. So with that little introduction, wonderful Yukai, let's just jump right in and talk about 2 wonderful things. We're going to talk about gamification in general, and specifically about the new book that you're gifting to the world, 10,000 hours of play. Let's start with gamification. Okay, everybody's heard of it. What is it really?
So gamification is applying the fun, exciting elements in games into things that are non-game like. So things that are like healthcare, finance, education. The easy way to say it is you make important things more fun and enjoyable. And that's gamification. And, what's actually funny, I think these days, the thing that people are most impressed about my background is not that, my design work impacted over 1.5 billion people or speaking at Harvard and Stanford, Yale, is that if they ask ChatGPT, who's the top expert in the field, ChatGPT will say my name. And apparently that's more impressive.
Wait a minute. That's right. The claim to fame these days is when a robot speaks your name. So it's really funny. There's an interesting definition of fame. It used to be that people would think that fame is people who know you. It's really, the people that you know. It's really people who know you. So in this case, it's not even a person. It's the people who program ChatGPT, and all they have to do is just crawl and find out. Gamification, Yukai Chou. And what you said about this amazing thing is that we're really dealing with the human condition, aren't we? About people wanting to really have fun in things that they do, no matter what, even the most serious thing. Let's say having a family, podcast, business. It really can have an element of what I call the ultimate FU, 4-letter FU word. It's called fun. spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. How do you like that one, Yukai? So let's delve a little more deeply into gamification, because your first book, or not your first, but one of that was a big seller with the subtitle was Beyond Points, Badges, and Leaderboards. So that's how people think of gamification. What's happened over the period of time that you've been involved over these, now it's more almost 2 decades, of seeing what the shift is in gamification?
So yeah, I started in 2003. It wasn't like I was a professional already. That was when I started gamifying my own life, and I started my first company in 2005. So pretty much in terms of like running companies in the space, yeah, exactly 2 decades. But you can imagine the early days, it was just a crazy thing. Nobody understood or believed in it. They thought I was trying to create more excuses to play games. And I was just very blessed and lucky that, 10, 15 years later, it became something that a lot of companies, nonprofits, governments saw as very valuable. And they looked around, and I happen to be one of the few people that have been doing it for so long. So, I get a lot of opportunities because of just being passionate about it and sticking to my game. And, when you said like there a lot of things in life, even the serious things should be like a game. There's actually a really cool quote. It's often attributed to the Irish playwright and poet Oscar Wilde. And he says, "Life is too serious to take too seriously." And I thought that's a really cool quote.
And it's so true, isn't it? Because once one becomes capable of understanding that there's a lightness to this process called life, interaction with other human beings, then that now takes on a whole new process of learning how to live, forgive, and create abundance. Because that's really what gamification is about. I'm saying it. Is it fair to say that? It's really about greater abundance.
It could be a goal. I think a lot of people strive for that. And so in gamification, you define what the goal is, and then it's to make that enjoyable, fun. So a lot of people obviously strive for abundance. And so gamification makes abundance enjoyable, fun, exciting, and you don't take yourself too seriously. You're happy to make fun of yourself. But there are people who have other goals in life, and they make those things more fun and enjoyable through gamification.
Well, when things are more fun, they become more enjoyable. And when things are more enjoyable, they become more fun. You create a spiral of goodness, a tsunami of goodness every day. Well, what I call a tsunami of goodness always. That's a toga. That's what the Romans used to wear, but we call it a tsunami of goodness always. So I want to just share with people your insights into gamification now in the world of AI, because let's be blunt, 2 decades ago, when you were beginning this process and defining it and talking about gamification, AI existed. However, it was on the fringe, much like gamification. Today, AI is striving to become mainstream. It's certainly mainstream in the fact that everybody talks about it. Now, the question is about being able to utilize it and make sure that it's part and parcel of a beneficial process for the world. So tell us, please, in your opinion, how does gamification and AI work synergistically to become a greater benefit?
Yeah, and this extends to the question you asked earlier. So over the years, I think gamification became more and more credible because people have been doing it right now. They learn the methodology, the behavioral science, the behind the gamification theories. And so we have case studies that show like improvement in ROI by 20, 80, 180%. So as they see more of those things, they say, well, gamification is not just a fad or a fun thing. It actually creates a tremendous amount of business value, health value, relationship value. And I think when AI comes in, it really empowers that, because we as humans, when we design for gamification experiences, we have to design in broad strokes, right? So we have like this for player types, for phases, we call them discovery, onboarding, scaffolding, end game phases, where we have to say, all right, in broad strokes, how should we design the experience so the most amount of people in this group at this phase would enjoy it, okay? But with an AI who has learned this thing really well, they're not there yet by far, at least not up to my standard. But the potential is that they can learn all of this stuff so well that for every single audience member, player, or user, they can have a customized gamified engagement experience. They will they'll give you the win state moments that you need the most. What will inspire you the most at that point? What theme, what encouragement, what social triggers do you need at that point? They will know when to have scarcity, when to make things a little difficult, you can't get it, when to add abundance to it. They will know if you want unpredictability, where it's like, hey, when I do activities, there's a chance good things will come out, or you want stable gain, and at the same time, they can balance it across millions of users. So that personalized, perfect experience for each person becomes a possibility once they become more advanced. But of course, there's always this dystopian side. If it's harnessed by people that are not well-intentioned, this is also very powerful to get people to do things they don't want to do. So that's potentially another debate for this time or another time. But I think there's this tremendous amount of power to add more engagement and joy and fun into the world through AI plus gamification.
I want to listen to this again. So I'm urging everybody, don't take notes. Don't try to write anything down. The beauty of having something recorded, by the way, is that you can go back and listen again and do pause and write things down, because you use a number of P words in there: personalized, positive, potential, powerful. And they all are true in the sense of everything happening around, even the other P word, which is hidden in the word experience, because people long for and want experiences. I mean, right now, there's a very interesting phenomenon about e-games. E-games are so fascinating that you can actually fill a stadium of people watching people play e-games, much like people watch soccer, American football, baseball, sports, et cetera, et cetera. So again, like you said, it's about this remarkable intersection of possibilities and personalized. Now, just to go off on that tangent, do you see this interacting or gamification with e-games?
Yeah, so e-games, and when it's competitive, they call it the e-sport. Mm-hmm. And so for esports, there is actually a lot of connection. I mean, actually, when I first started in 2003, I wanted to make games matter more. And I actually had two paths I could choose. I could go to esports, which means playing video games as a career. People watch you. There's a whole industry of coach. I can go into that, or I can go gamification. And I chose gamification, which I'm very happy with my choice. It created a lot of good impact. But I think if I chose esports, I probably wouldn't be the strongest player that's competitive, but I would probably be running some organization that powers the esports tournaments or player recruitment program or things like that. And I think it has the same core of let's make games matter more, because people are they're basically lured into it, that like they want to connect more with games, but they keep saying, okay, but this is not productive. I have more important things to do. So they keep trying to stay away from it. And so what I love is say, no, don't try to stay with it, but put it into the place where you should be going. So be attracted to the place you should be going, doing what you should be doing, and just enjoy doing that. So that's why my second book is called 10,000 Hours of Play. If you gamify your life well enough, it's not 10,000 hours
okay.
of blood,
on that note, we have sponsors that love the show, and we wouldn't have them on if we didn't think they're worthy of your time and attention. So we're going to go to a very brief break, 44 seconds. There'll be more of this amazing being, Yukai Chou, on the other side. And we're going to learn about 10,000 hours of play. Don't go away. It's wonderful.
What if you could shop at your favorite local stores, swipe your current credit card, and get extra cashback rewards? And what if you could also have donations sent to your favorite cause at no extra cost to you? What if this amazing program was absolutely free and very simple to set up? Well, What If is here. Welcome to Einstein Cares, where your everyday shopping gives you and your favorite cause extra money. It's fast, it's easy, and effortless.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is Yukai Chou, one of the most remarkable human beings on the planet. He likes to bring more fun into your everyday life. So he wants you, he's just said it, be attracted to games because games can improve your everything about you. And when I'm talking about you, it means you in relationship with other people, relationship with yourself, with your finances, with your health. And we're about to embark on something that everybody should pay great attention to, lean in and be involved with. And it's his latest endeavor called 10,000 hours of play. So we're going to unpack it. I just want everybody to be aware. Everything about Yukai is going to be in the show notes. This is something you want to be involved with. Go to Kickstarter. Well, you'll see it in the show notes. Just click and get involved with the beginning of a new evolution, which is going to cause a revolution that's going to really make a difference in the benefits for humanity. So with that as an introduction, wonderful Yukai, what is 10,000 hours of play? I think I know the reference to 10,000 hours. However, we want to hear it from you. What is 10,000 hours of play, and why should people be attracted to it and care about it?
First of all, I want to say that that's an amazing sponsor you have there. I love that sponsor. So I encourage everyone to go support that sponsor, Einstein Cares.
Thank you.
And yes, and so for the actual question, so 10,000 hours of play is first based on the 10,000 hour rule that was popularized in Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. And a lot of people say that he was the one that created it. It's his rule, but he actually didn't create it. He cited other authors to talk about that. And it talked about people who put in 10,000 hours before they're 21 years old, and specifically achieve world-class talent and skill. So there's obviously this debate about whether it's 10,000 hours or not and what field, but that's not so important. It's just a tremendous amount of time you dump into something. And so for my book, the idea is that yes, maybe 10,000 hours or somewhere around that gets you to become a master and successful in life. But if you gamify your life, well, it doesn't have to be 10,000 hours of blood, sweat, and tears. It's just 10,000 hours of enjoying yourself, having fun, playing your favorite game. And at the end of all this gameplay, you're successful, you're happy, you have good relationships, you're healthy. And that is why we care about 10K HP.
Good. So let's now talk about what it is that this book, is this a book much like others that's bound and such? Is it electronic? Is it interactive? What's really the process of this 10,000 hours of play dynamic process? Yeah,
so the output, we do have all the book formats, soft cover, hardcover, audio book, Kindle, but I think it connects to a much greater system, which is what we call a 6 steps level up system in life. And so there's, on our website, there's interactive worksheets, but also an experience that people go through. And I think eventually it's going to be a community and even like a coaching academy that people are trained to help everyone else find what we call their 10K HP alignment. So what it is, it basically breaks down life into 6 steps that all gamers understand. And I'll quickly go through that. Step 1 is to choose your game. What is the thing you're passionate about in your life that you can burn your whole life pursuing and it's still worth it regardless if you're beating the game or not? Just like games, if you don't beat the game, you're still happy because you played it. And so this is connected to your talents, your passion. You don't have to think about your what you're good at yet. You just want to think about what you really enjoy doing. Because let's say, even if you had no talents, let's say you're going to be like a janitor, or just a talent of a janitor. If you're passionate about music, I believe that you would be happier being a janitor at a music company than a truck company. But if you're passionate about trucks, which a lot of people are, then it would be the opposite, right? So when you choose your game, it's what you're actually passionate about. And then step 2 is then your attributes. What are your talents? What are you good at? Are you good at communication skills, perseverance, or things like these are attributes? So they're not skills. Skills are step 4. Attributes are things that we're either born with or we grow slowly through life experience. Like you can't just take a class and become good at being perseverant, right? Or being adapting to new environments. You kind of have to live through some of that environments to do that. Then based on your attributes, you go to step 3, which is selecting your role. And that's based on what is your attributes empowered to do. So in games, you have like strengths, agility, vitality as your attributes, and then you become a warrior tank or a mage, damager, whatnot, right? And so those have to be aligned. So a quick example here, if your game is to protect the environment, let's say somehow, sustainability, based on your attributes, if you had quantitative attributes, you can be an engineer to invent clean energy devices to help with the environment. But if your attributes are more like humanities, like persuasion, whatnot, you can be a diplomat to negotiate international treaties that are good for the environment. You can be an activist. You can be a YouTuber that gains awareness for this type of thing. Once you know your role, then you go to step 4 and you enhance your skills. What are the skills that the highest level player of this role should have? And this is when you look at your role models, people who have done amazing things and what skills they have, and you want to start learning them. Step 5 is building alliances. So these are people playing the same game as you. They have similar goals, but they have different talents and roles and skills. So you can synergetically help each other. And then step 6, the final one, is achieving your quest. And these are activities that help you grow your skills that you need to learn. Step 4, it helps you build chemistry with your allies, and it helps you get closer and closer to to beating your game. And so what's interesting about this is that every successful person we study in history has those 6 steps aligned. Whether it's Gandhi, Walt Disney, Mary Curie, Da Vinci, all those people have those 6 steps aligned. And when they only had 5 out of the 6, they weren't that successful. Only when all 6 of them are connected, that's when their life took off. So that's why we're really passionate about, not just because you can find a lot of books just talking about one step, how to find your passion, or what are your strengths, how do you do networking. But I think this is one of the few literature out there, besides making it really fun and exciting, it also emphasizes on how these 6 things must be connected to each other for the game to make sense and for you to thrive.
Again, I'm glad people listened and didn't try to write notes. The genius and beauty of this process that we call our podcast, which we urge you, please share this with 5 people. You want to share with 50 or 100, that's great. Share with at least 5 people so we can touch 2.5 million people and keep the process growing. And of course, like us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. What you just heard encapsulated, first of all, it's available to you. I urge everybody to go to the show notes, go to Kickstarter, get involved, be the leader for yourself. See, there's a great word called fly. Everybody wants to fly, right? Well, fly has 2 wonderful acronyms. One is first, love yourself. Because if you don't do that, it's going to be hard to love somebody else. Again, the reason I love Yukai is because he's not just a wonderful being who's telling you and sharing with all these ideas. He lives it. His wife's name is Angel. His kids are all part of music. He lives the life of joy, happiness, peace, and love. The other acronym for FLY is first, lead yourself. When you lead yourself, now you can help others, not by looking around saying, who's following me? Just be. So again, get involved with 10,000 hours of play. It will up your life. Up yours is a great line if you use it correctly. By the way, I want to tell you, Yukai, with your permission, I created an acronym for your name during the break. Can I tell you the acronym?
Of course.
Okay, so Yukai is spelled Y-U-K-A-I. Yukai stands for Y-O-U, unleash kindness, awareness, and insights.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That must be what my parents were thinking about when they named me.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I think one of the points is really strong that you make with first lead yourself, because in step 5 it's building alliance, right? And that chapter I talked about, most people when they think about building alliance, it's about networking, meeting people. But my principles is no, it starts with the self-improvement. You want to become a person that people want to connect with. People want to network with you. People want to meet you because we have 6 principles: integrity, sincerity, initiative, confidence, initiative, and persistence. So optimism. Sorry, I think optimism one I skipped. But those 6 things build you up as a good person, and that's when people want to be with you. Or else, if you're just trying to say, hey, let's meet, let's exchange business cards, let's see, how you can help me, how I can help you. That's very transactional, and that's not how you build alliances.
This is so fabulous. Again, it's we have an interesting idea in this life about giving. So there's people who, just as you mentioned, people are involved oftentimes with giving as long as they're in their mind thinking, well, I'm going to give so I can get. That's not what we call giving on the level that Yukai is talking about. We're talking about 10,000 hours of play and unleashing all these 6 aspects that create what they call the hexagon of life. Then what you want to be doing is something called ability to openly give. Openly giving just means you're giving. No expectations other than to give. When that happens, you have broken through, and now you can create true alliances in life. Because as you said, what will happen is the A word. You attract people to you. That's because you're a giver. And when you do that, you can graciously receive. And that's, again, being involved in what Yukai is building here and creating. As he says, the goal is part of it is community. Because when there's community, a worldwide community, there is no geography anymore. There are no boundaries because we live outside of ourselves. That's right. So,
and that connects to your first acronym, first love yourself. I think people who are loving themselves, they're comfortable with giving and sharing. The people who are trying to hoarding, they struggle with loving themselves. And that's why they feel like they have to keep hoarding to compensate for that.
That's why we love you. So I'm loath to say the following words. And I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions. Our time is coming to a close on this session. So I have three quick questions for you, dear beloved Yukai. You ready?
I'm ready.
Number 1, will you come back again?
I will be back again.
Thank you. Number 2, Yukai Chou. You have only 47 seconds to answer this question. What is your most fervent desire?
My most fervent desire is to make a positive impact in this world through my God-given talents. And I want to make an impact through width, which is touching as many lives as possible, and depth, which is the deep impact I can make on a person's life.
Width and depth. And number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 511,217 people around the world?
Yes, you may.
Okay. And let me tell you what HUG stands for. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. Here we come. 1, 2, 3. Again, you're listening to and watching in Las Vegas with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy, our amazing Yukai Chou, and everybody involved with his family. And we'd like to give you a blessing. Because this show is not about Yukai, great guy that he is, not about Barry, fabulous fellow. It's about you, Y-O-U, you becoming the best you, because you're the best you. You make the world a better place, build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. So our blessing from Yukai and Barry is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Yukai, don't go away.